වලකින්න. මුඛාවරණයේ ඉදිරිපස ඇල්ලීමෙන් වලකින්න.
We're stronger together.
දුකෙන් ගලවා සතුට දක්වා ජනතාව එතෙර කරන බලාපොරොත්තුවේ පාලම ගම්මැද්දෙන් දඹුල්ල කළුගලට හම්බෙගමුව වටමඩට ගාල්ල නෙළුවට හුන්නස්ගිරිය පොප්පිටියට බලංගොඩ පීල්ල කුඹුරට උඩ වැවගම වෑගොල්ලට මාතලේ උස්සානට නෙළුව දෙල්ලවට ගාල්ල කීන කැටියට මොනරාගල ඉඳුරු ගස් වැවට බදුල්ල පිටමාරුවට ජීවිතයෙන් එතෙර වෙන්න පාඩමක් එක්ක පාලමක් ගම්මැද්ද රට නගන ජනපෞර
රැස්වීදෙන ජීවිතේ
රට නගන ජනපෞර ගම්මැද්දෙන් 2022 අවුරුද්ද සිදු කළ ව්‍යාපෘතිවලින් කිහිපයක්
2022 ජනවාරි පළමුවැනිදා
වැලිමඩ බොරලන්ද ගල් ඒදන්ද මාර්ගය
2022 ජනවාරි 8 වැනිදා
අනුරාධපුර කඳුරුපිටිය පිරිසිදු පානීය ජල ව්‍යාපෘතිය
2022 ජනවාරි 21 වැනිදා
පොළොන්නරුව උල්කටපොත පිරිසිදු පානීය ජල ව්‍යාපෘතිය
2022 පෙබරවාරි 4 වැනිදා
මහවිලච්චිය පිරිසිදු පානීය ජල ව්‍යාපෘතිය
2022 පෙබරවාරි 17 වැනිදා
අනුරාධපුර කටුවරගාල වැව පිරිසිදු පානීය ජල ව්‍යාපෘතිය ගම්මැද්ද රට නගන ජනපෞර තවදුරටත් ඔබ වෙනුවෙන් ඉදිරියට
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shawkatali.
And very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. We're broadcasting as we almost always do from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. Apologies for the 2 or 3 minutes late start. We've had a slight problem with something technical. Anyway, my guest this evening is a Member of Parliament from the SLPP. I may sort of qualify that and say that he is a dissident Member of Parliament from the SLPP. And it's rather difficult, but he's maintained his dissident nature for several months now. And he's right here with me, Mr. Chandima Weerakkody. Very good evening to you, Mr. Weerakkody.
Good evening. I maintained for years, not for months.
For years. My apologies. There you go. Dissident. Now then, dissident, I suppose, for and on behalf of the people.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now then, I am, of course, shocked by what happened to your personal property in the Gaul area. And to me, it appears, I don't know who did it or anything like that, but it appears to me that the people in your area utterly and shamefully have displayed dollops of ingratitude, and I can't understand how they would do it to a person who's represented them for so long. But
I must correct that position.
Right.
And it being for my neighbors, the whatever is left, even not would not have been left. So I'm thankful to my neighbors who came forward to rescue my property. That is the way it is now. I must.
Is it habitable? Can you live in it?
It is not presently, but at least part of my house was rescued by my neighbors. And in other cases, the houses were burned
to the
ground. No neighbor intervened to control flames. So
clearly,
in such circumstances, I must once again thank my neighbors who came forward to.
Well done to Chandima Weerakkody's neighbours for being so civic-minded and for being loyal. Loyal friends as well as upright and upstanding citizens of our country. We need more such people. I hope that we can find even more people like your neighbours. Now then, Sri Lanka, we are in a crisis. 225 people in Parliament, with all due respect, or most of those 225, are viewed by the public who are protesting out there as a bunch of jokers. Yesterday we had one member of Parliament who came here and maintained that this was not a dollar crisis. Instead, he said it was a political crisis. Well, I'd like to say this, that this is a dollar crisis which has led to an economic crisis. And why do I say that it is an economic crisis? Because we have got no fuel, we have got no gas, we've got challenges when we trying to find our medicine, and the farming community have no fertilizer. Mr. Shavan Daniel, the executive group director at Capital Maharaj Group and the person in charge of News First, he went up to Anuradhapura area and he told me a few minutes ago that the problems there are not the same as what we are experiencing in Colombo and these urban areas. The problem over there is that there's farming communities there. They don't have fertilizer. They don't have fertilizer. They're completely and utterly angry with the president of Sri Lanka for putting them in this absolutely disastrous position. And I'll let you tell me about the egg and the breaking of the kate to buy the egg. But Chandima Weerakkody, do you agree that this dollar crisis went into an economic crisis, and like I explained, the fuel, the gas, the medicine, the fertilizer, and so many things, that then led to the people going onto the streets because they had no other avenue to do. Their representatives in Parliament were not listening to them. And then, therefore, that economic crisis turned into a social crisis, and finally, it became a political crisis. Do you agree, by and large, with this position?
Well, the main reason for this is the fact that we didn't have a leader who is a visionary. We didn't have a group of leaders who could realize the issues of the people and the economic issues that we are faced with. They were blind. They were ignorant. They didn't want to listen. They didn't think that they are elected people, that they are in a democracy. Because during the past 2 years, we tried our level best, being in the government, to pinpoint, enlighten the president and these guys who rule the country of what should be done. When the taxes were scrapped, no one in this country wanted a tax reduction.
Maybe his henchmen did.
Obviously, there has to be someone who's closer to the president and his team who wanted, but not the general public who wanted it. And then who wanted sugar taxes to be brought down drastically? No one wanted, and everyone knows what happened there. That time we raised our voice. Then the coconut oil issue, then garlic issue. When these came up, we raised our voice, but they were ignorant. And then overnight, a decision was taken to introduce organic fertilizer. We protested, we informed, we raised it when these goons, some professors and doctors were sent to Parliament. We questioned them, but they gave a blind hearing. And these mainly, and then when the fuel crisis was, when we saw the fuel crisis coming, we wanted them to prioritize what should be, for what we should use foreign currency. But they were arrogant, ignorant. We were like till about last month or the previous month, all the foreign fruits came into the country. All the branded imported stuff came into the country. I think still such things are coming into the country. We didn't study what's happening to the US economy.
Yes.
We didn't study the fact that the inflation is in the UK is going up.
Which is why we probably need...
We didn't know, we were ignorant as to depleting reserves in India. We were ignorant as to what's happening in China. We, as a country, we had people, I protested when PB Jayasundara was brought in. Openly I came on TV and protested that his brain is not functioning at that. I went to that extent. But what did the president do? What did the people in the cabinet do? Now people say, now fertilizer. What did now for this fertilizer ship that was sent?
Yeah.
There is a bank guarantee, as I understand, for $5 million US. 6.9 million was paid. Did they take steps to encash the bank guarantee? Because what was said was that stock was returned, and another stock will be.
So what you're saying is they didn't enforce that.
They didn't enforce. Then what did the Minister of Agriculture do? What did the Minister of Plantation do? Did they open their mouth? Now the tea industry is suffering.
The silence of the lambs has cost the people.
Cabinet, they kept quiet. They just sailed together with the president blindfolded till the economy crashed. Who is responsible? Who was in the cabinet? Now they can say, now for the law and order. Now some people say that the IGP is responsible.
But wasn't he? Don't you think he is responsible?
No. Whose people were appointed as OICs? Members of parliament representing
whichever area,
and so-called Pohottuwa district leaders.
They nominated the
OIC. When I raised it at the consultative committee chaired by the president, he kept a blind eye. He gave a blind hearing. And when I raised it with the Minister of then Internal Security, Sarath Weerasekara, he told me about my district. He said that the president's instructions are to give appointments to those who have been recommended by Ramesh Patirana. That is what was told and that is what was done. And in my electorate, I must tell you, Imaduwa was one example I raised. There were 5 chief inspectors in that particular station. Ramesh Patirana brought in a man who has just become IP few months ago as OIC. You know, last few days ago, the Pradesh Sabha chairman was killed. Imaduwa Pradesh Sabha chairman was killed in the presence of the OIC. He was there. So it shows political goons were brought in who were incompetent, inexperienced, who couldn't take action.
Can I ask you here? Thank you very much for your questions. 0772 300 305, SMS or WhatsApp. 0772 300 305. Here's one. The people are not responsible for the current crisis. 1. People paid for the fuel they consumed. 2. People paid for their gas and never used the same on or got the same on FOC terms. 3. People always paid for the electricity consumption, and parliamentarians are given fuel at 121. Although young Minister Kanchana Wijesekara has pointed out that that is not the case. I don't know what the facts are, but I'm telling you that Kanchana Wijesekara said that. So, you know, the people are not responsible. But let me ask you, Chandima Weerakkody, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is not some ordinary fellow who's just turned up there. He was Secretary of Defense. He's got certain amount of expertise and experience behind him. Surely, he knew that you can't achieve organic produce overnight, despite the pardeners of this world and the media moguls of the day who turned out to be wannabe agricultural specialists. Surely President Rajapaksa has got more noodles than that. What happened? Why do you think? Was he advised, sir, don't tell the truth, we'll style it out, we'll say we're going organic, because actual fact, sir, we don't have the money, the $400 million to spend on fertilizer. Do you think that's the scenario? What happened?
No, when you are elected by the people of this country, when you are given all the authority by virtue of the constitution of the country, you have to be sensible. You should, as an elected member, various people can come and say various things.
Yeah.
But it is the responsibility of the president to understand what's going to happen, to realize, to consult, to look into. But I think, every president has had advisors who have misled them. But the sole responsibility lies with the president who took the decision. And also I must tell you about this
Can we say that?
About this
yes,
diesel
let's
issue.
come to the diesel after the break, because otherwise Harshan is going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
We're going for a break. We're going to look at the headlines this evening. We'll be back soon after that.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
President and former Prime Minister attend War Heroes Day celebrations. IUSF organizes protest march. With fuel sold to parliamentarians at low rates. Chamal's confession. Gota Gama Township receives letter by post. Bread prices go up.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
Welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with Mr. Chandima Weerakkody, a Member of Parliament from the SLPP, dissident one at that. The dollar crisis led to the economic crisis. And what is the economic crisis? And that is, of course, an acute lack of fuel, gas, medicine, fertilizer, which meant that the people went onto the streets. And that led to what we now know as a social crisis. And that in turn sort of moved along and became the political crisis of the day. Now then, people are asking, they're saying, Chandima Weerakkody, that Parliament is still debating the events of Monday, Black Monday. But where's the solution? Where's the cabinet? Where's government? What are they doing? Where are these friendly countries that said, oh, you know, Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Prime Minister's 6th time round, 5 times never completed his term, right? And he said, oh, I'm looking to friendly countries. Where? What's happening? Why?
Well, as I told you, I've been telling during the past almost 2 years that we should place the truth before the people. We should not try to fool people. We should not come out with fairy tales. No country. Now, as you know, what is happening to the economy in the US? You go to UK, highest inflation ever is taking place there. You go to India, their reserves are also being depleted. What is happening in Pakistan? Same issue. Across the world, there is an issue. Not that the leaders, so-called leaders, are not aware of it. But and the story was that Japan Japanese ambassador went to bring money.
I'm told he went for some medical treatment.
He has gone for medical treatment, and knowing the you know what we did to the LRT project.
Yes.
And Japanese.
How can we, hand on our hearts, go back and ask them for money?
So, and then what about, can we now immediately go to the Middle East? What is the relationship we had? So, and we can't, if we say that we are expecting bundles of money, cash, like one said, coming in ships to rescue us, it's not going to happen. We have to, as I see, we must be able to like bring down, to deplete our economy, at least by 1/3. We must face reality, and we must prioritize. Which we should have done, like I said, we didn't do. We were importing quite a lot of unnecessary things even till last month. We must, if we have the fuel, if we have the electricity, if we have the medicine, and if we have the fertilizer, then we will be able to survive. So we have to prioritize and have money only for these, and then we must cut down. All of us must be able to sacrifice.
Absolutely.
Whilst the ministers, president and the military officials lead a luxury life, we can't expect the people to sacrifice. People are lined up in queues for hours, like more than that they work, they are now in the queues. But look at the amount of money that is unnecessarily spent by the high level military officials. Look at the low level soldiers, the way they are suffering. They are in buses for days now due to this. Look at the police officers, the junior level police officers, how they suffer, and the others, how they waste. So we must look at those, manage ourselves, give directions, and we must be realistic. Without doing that, now the prime minister was removed, or he stepped down about a week ago. We have not been able to appoint a cabinet. And
why is that?
We must ask the president and the sitting prime minister. They must do that as quickly as possible. Now the prime minister took over. We as members of parliament, we are ready to support whoever who takes over unconditionally to revive the economy, to help the people who are suffering. But what is happening now? Look at the parliamentary procedures this whole week. What are we talking? One fellow say, each one of us stand up and say, we lost our underpants, we lost our belt, we lost our something, and our children are crying.
Nobody's talking about the dollar crisis.
So dollar and this talking business, I think, is enough now.
Well, I met
we have to now deliver.
I met an industrialist. He said, if there was a commitment from government, we could take immediate steps, and the results will come in 90 days. But we need action, like when President Premadasa put in those, gave the incentives for all those garment factories. People criticized him and said that, our boys and girls are stitching underwear for the West. Well, thank you very much for doing that, because our position would be so many $1 billion further worse if we hadn't done that. That was visionary thinking. Where is the visionary thinking now? Do you think that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa lacks visionary leadership, and do you agree with the claims of the SJB that he must announce a time frame in which he will go?
I think that's what, unfortunately, I must tell you, that is what people expect.
So you, as a member of the SLPP,
I had to stand with the people. I'm a man who has contact with the grassroots, or rather, I associate very closely with all levels of people. In one voice, over 80% of my personal friends, my political colleagues expect that. Because I don't consider him as a visionary. I must tell you. He must, if he listens, because we can't meet him, he must realize that it's the time for him to
I have
leave
a
now.
question for you from Gaul.
Yeah.
Your constituency.
Yeah.
The person's asking me to ask you,
Yeah.
when will Gota go?
I can't decide that. We want him to go. We have very clearly.
Is the Prime Minister loving the go Gota home, go Gamma in Golfies? Is the Prime Minister loving that to give not a subtle message but a direct message to President Gotabaya that the people want you to go home?
Whether the Prime Minister
gives
that direction or not, what people expect is obvious. So we have to understand as elected members when to go.
What chances of an impeachment?
Well, it's a very complicated procedure, I must tell you. It's, I mean, certainly according to Sri Lankan constitution, final decision is also to be taken by the president himself. So it's
what, to impeach himself?
Yeah, to remove him once.
It sounds,
so it's
it sounds very silly,
yeah,
doesn't it?
so it's a very complicated situation.
So,
but now I think, I mean, according to him, he said, I was not a politician, I was brought into politics.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like to initially to get in. I got into this due to compulsion. So if that is the case, I think he should take a decision now.
Here's an interesting question from somebody, I don't know from where this person is, but the other person declared themselves to be from Gaul, from Gintota. You probably know where that is.
Gintota, yeah.
Gintota, right. Here goes. Why does the government not send an all-Muslim SLPP delegation with the begging bowl to the oil-rich Middle East? Please comment.
Well, just because we go as a delegation, I don't think they will immediately consider and give us. I mean, I can't tell you offhand, not knowing what the pulse of those nations are. And it is up to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to have cultivated that relationship and maintain.
Will
so
there be another question? Another question. I've got the gist of that. There will be anarchy if Gota goes now.
No. As of now, there is anarchy. So now what has happened is no one at every level is happy in this country. What is most important in a country, in a society is people to be happy. People don't have a hope. Whoever whom we talk to, they are like into some issue. Now look at the tourist industry. That is the only industry that can generate foreign currency immediately. No tourists arrives. Then foreign employment. No one sends money. Then exports. There is a, now look at the tea industry, the crop has dropped drastically.
Yeah.
So the foreign income due to through such exports is coming down rapidly. It is the case with cinnamon, it is the case. Now the garment industry, look at it. Now garment industry, usually the raw material is ordered every 3 months. According to the information I have, for the immediate 3 months ahead, they have been able to order only 30% of the requirement. So within a matter of a few months, we are going to lose that income. Over 5 to 600,000 people are going to lose employment. And likewise, we are faced with such difficult situation which the government is not in a position to handle.
Chandima Weerakkody, thank you very much for being, as usual, upfront and open on our network and everywhere you go. Thank you. Thank you. And we hope that you will continue to be safe and solid because we, the public, will need such people as you. Somebody says they wish that they'll have more people like you in Parliament of your caliber. So there you go. And that's the way it was this evening on Newsline. Just like to say that today marks the the birthday of our late chairman, Mr. Kiri Rajamahendran, and government did something out there.
Yeah, and as a Buddhist, I hope and pray that he attains nirvana.
Thank you. And that's the way it was on Newsline Live. Take care, have a great evening, and as always, God bless you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.